Dad, I'm saying this out of love. Fuck you. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 152, and I am your host, the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the movie discussion tonight. And before we get started, let's go around and meet the fellow bros. We start in the lab with the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Now, Banner, I tried to copy some of your scientific acumen this weekend by strategically hanging some outdoor lights in my backyard, and I almost killed myself with a nail gun. So, any advice that you can give me for future projects, how to avoid puncturing myself?
So a nail gun are like little metal like spikes that you shoot into wood. It has nothing to do with your fingernails.
Interesting.
Good to know. Thanks for the
That's
insight.
the advice you have. We have show notes written in advance for you to prepare for these questions, and that's what you come up with. Now I'm picturing what even the utility of a gun that shot fingernails would be.
Yeah, that would be kind of a shitty tool.
Yes, very useless.
I mean, yeah.
Again, insightful.
Next we go to the American hero, Nate Thurman. Nate, speaking of nail guns, how comfortable would you be wielding one of those against an unruly neighbor if push were to ever come to shove?
Yeah, I'd be down. Any type of weapon, I'll wield it if we need to protect the fam or something, or any other bros. Probably want to get one that's like battery powered, so I'm not hooked down to like a cable or a hose, just so I can have a little bit more mobility. But that's my only thoughts on that.
Otherwise, we'd have to be like, hey, can you come attack me in this area where my
2 feet
is?
closer. I dare you. You won't.
Pussy. Anytime you say you won't, that's a great way to get someone to do something.
Oh, you can definitely tell they will.
Yeah. Fucking classic trap. All right, we begin every episode on the Bro 4 Squad with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is great sound. That is chest day. And our chest day today is an idea inspired by one of us. I actually can't remember who, and we could probably figure it out if we went back through the text thread from this past week, but that's a lot of work.
Not gonna happen.
The idea is we are going to do our 4th ever movie draft here on the pod. Previous movie drafts we have done is a Star Wars character draft. Then we did an Adam Sandler's worst movies draft and a 90s animated villains draft. So you can go. I don't know the episode. Well, I do, but I'm too lazy to look them up. But go check those out. But today, Banner, why don't you tell people what our draft is going to be and then sort of how the process works, if you will.
So one of us, as Jeff mentioned, had the brilliant idea of doing fictitious sports athletes or fictitious athletes. So we defined that as any sports movie, but they can't be a real person. Now they can be like an athlete that's playing a fictitious character, but it can't be like Michael Jordan in Space Jam because he's playing Michael Jordan.
That's cheating.
Fair enough?
Yes, and like Cool Runnings, Remember the Titans, Miracle, all excluded because based on true stories.
Correct. Yes, those are not fictitious people or characters. We're doing snake draft, so I believe I am picking first, Horns is picking second, and Thurman's picking third. Then we'll run it back with Thurman picking fourth, Horns fifth, and me sixth, so on and so forth. This one's a little bit different because this is a team that we're building. No specific sport. You just have to defend why you're picking this person for your team. But you got to start out with the head coach. Then we're going to go your 1 through 5 draft picks, and we're going to finish it up with an assistant coach because no head coach is good without his team behind him.
Correct.
Go ahead, Joe.
Before we get started, Nate, I think the best way for people to understand what we're trying to do here is exactly what Banner said. We're taking every movie we've ever seen that involves sports that is fictitious and made up. But Nate, if someone were to ask you at the bar, hey, how did you go about picking your team, or what's sort of the goal here, and you were 3 beers deep, how would you explain what we're trying to do with the draft? Because it's superfluous, it's out there, but it kind of makes sense in a way that it doesn't make sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're always just flying by the seat of our pants, so it could be a number of different things. But really, I mean, our only criteria for building the team is for you to be able to defend why it's somehow better than another Bros team. There's really no specific sport, like Brian said, that we're trying to build these teams into to compete in, unless it's shit talking, which is sometimes
Definitely
considered a sport, and which
Definitely.
we definitely do consider it a sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in North Korea it's the national sport.
That's what I hear.
Don't look that up.
Some people would call it an art.
Do not fact check us.
Don't. Although the North Korea media we know is historically very accurate, so whatever you find there, I would count as gospel.
Yeah.
All right, the draft order, as Brian said earlier, due to random draw, Banner will pick first, I will pick second, Nate will pick third, and then we will flip it in the second round and flip it in subsequent rounds. So, Brian, you will begin the fictitious movie athlete draft by drafting your first coach from a movie. Who would you like to choose with the first overall pick in this draft?
So I need a coach, as the owner, I need a coach that isn't afraid to live in that gray area. I need a coach that is going to do whatever it takes to get the players that he needs. And that's why I'm going Coach Pete Bell from Blue Chips.
Wow.
All right, here we go.
Now, we had a list put together, and so you're going off list early.
I'm going off list.
I figured there's so many you could go with.
Off menu. I love it.
I needed somebody that, is it legal? I don't know. That's up for interpretation. He's going to do it anyway.
How, spoiler alert for Blue Chips, skip ahead 30 seconds if you haven't seen it, but how do you feel about drafting a guy that actually realizes the error of his ways in terms of cheating by the end of the movie?
It's fine.
It's a good arc.
He hasn't figured that out yet on my team.
Okay.
And I'm also paying him a lot more than whatever fictitious Dolphins team he was. The LA Dolphin University.
I forgot they were the Dolphins.
They were the Dolphins, yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Love it.
We need to buy, what would be bros if we bought like fucking apparel for that school?
So not to get off on a tangent, but back in college, we did start a NCAA basketball team with Florida Gulf Coast University, and we actually ordered shirts online just so we could wear it while we were playing it in our fucking college apartment.
And they actually had like it was like hunter green was their color, right?
And it was like hunter green and like that dark blue, right?
Yeah, I wonder if I still have that shirt somewhere.
I wish I still had it, because then they went on the NCAA run a couple years ago.
Yeah. Their coach is at USC now, the coach from
They had a name, like, because they were dunking all the time. What was that?
It was like,
obviously like Phi Slamma Jamma, but something different.
Yeah. It was like some variation of Lob City.
Yeah,
I think throw a fuck ton of alley-oops.
I'm gonna have to look that up. But anyways, don't want to get off on a tangent.
God, that was such a fun team to watch.
It was.
And people were like, wow, you got on the bandwagon quick with those shirts. I'm like, dude, we've had these for like a year and a half.
Please.
Fuck off. All right, good choice, Banner. Pete Bell from Blue Chips, played by Nick Nolte, is your head coach. I am now up. And I need a guy that kind of walks two alleys here, or lanes, I should say. He's technically sound. He can get us where we need to go. But also, he's a bit of a risk taker. Maybe not as big a risk taker as Banner's, but he's had people under his tutelage die before. And I'm going to go with Coach Robert from Blades of Glory, played by Craig T. Nelson. So,
Coach.
Now, the Flying Lotus, as we can probably all remember, is what got several of his skaters killed, but he didn't give a fuck, and he still tried to compete with Chaz Michaels and teach it to him. So Coach Robert is technically sound, but he's also willing to break or bend the rules a little bit if he thinks it'll give him an advantage. And pick. Craig T. Nelson is just a great coach. I mean, he was literally coach in the show, so how can you not want him heading up your team?
Can't argue with that.
No, I mean, it's a solid choice. Very solid choice.
All right, Nate, who's heading your squad?
All right, so I figured he was still going to be here. I'm excited to get him on the team. If you really look back at some successful coaches in history, one of the most successful dynasties in sports history ever, the 1990 Bulls. Who did they have? Phil Jackson, the Zen Master. We're going with Mr. Miyagi. for our coach
Nice.
of the Thurmans.
All right.
He's going to keep it chill. He's going to keep everyone in the right mindset. He may have a little bit of a different technique than most
He's
of these
an
players
outside the box thinker.
might be used to, but he's going to get the job done. He's going to get inside each one of their heads. He's going to get their mind right with some ancient Chinese, Japanese thought processes. I don't know where I'm going down this. Sometimes I start a sentence, I don't know where I'm going. But
I will say this, and you can totally, fuck this strategy if you want, but having Mr. Miyagi as your coach, there's some guys I'm looking at on this athlete list that would immediately butt heads with the way he likes to train people. I mean, Danny himself had a lot of fucking issues with it early on. There's some guys I just don't know if he'll be able to reach, but there's other guys he might be really effective with.
we got to see how the team plays out. But he's got some different methods that are going to work for certain people.
Also, I like how he's not afraid to get really drunk in the middle of the night one night and just babble on about his dead wife and child.
Sometimes that's how he gets in the right mindset and gets his theories, gets his game plan.
You got to do,
Yeah.
He did
Everybody
coach Danny.
has their process.
I mean, having Danny beat Cobra Kai is a fucking massive upset that he was behind. So you definitely have a guy with a pedigree of pulling off the impossible. All right, so Pete Bell from Blue Chips is Banner's coach. Coach Robert from Blades of Glory is mine. And Nate is rolling with Mr. Miyagi, of course, from The Karate Kid. Nate, round 2 back up to you, so you get to select the first player taken in the fictitious movie athlete draft.
This is a tough first choice for the player portion.
I will say, looking at this list, I text you guys this. I don't think there's a clear, even like not only number one, but not even like a clear upper tier from what we have.
No, I would agree with that statement, 100%.
So, as I picked my coach, I knew I was probably going to go down this route just with having Mr. Miyagi as the coach and trying to shape it around him. May not be a stereotypical first pick in the draft, but we're going to go with Ty Webb from Caddyshack. He's another one who will fit very well into Mr. Miyagi's game plan. He's very into spirituality, just feeling the game. He's a very naturally talented player. He doesn't really have all the hype that's around some other players, but he can go out there, and maybe it's a homer pick because I love golf, but he can go out there and shoot 5 under with his shoes off and not give a damn about anything. But I think he can really buy into Mr. Miyagi's coaching game plan and kind of get into that Zen mindset as well.
Nate, I have to ask, are you at all concerned that his penchant for banging hot blondes might slightly get in the way of your pursuit of a championship here?
It's just part of the process. And I'm fine with it.
Yeah, everyone works different ways. Who am I to judge?
Yeah.
Take off the white wig. I got to say, as far as pure talent goes, even looking at this list, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that just has better raw skills than Ty Webb.
He goes out there, just makes all the putts, not a care in the world. He's just got that. He's got that drive, and I wouldn't say drive inside him. He's just got that natural God-given talent.
All right, well, that's what you're looking for in a first pick, somebody with high upside. Speaking of raw God-given talent, I'm going to go with. This is a favorite film of mine. I'm not sure if either of you have seen it, but I'm going to go with Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride, played by Damon Wayans, the 1996 film. Obviously, in Celtic Pride, Lewis Scott is the star player of the Utah Jazz, who's absolutely destroying the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. And Dan Aykroyd and Daniel Stern decide the only way for their Boston Celtics to win the NBA Finals is to kidnap Lewis Scott, which inherently is a hilarious premise for a movie. And in classic comedy fashion, he actually ends up sort of liking them and becoming friends with them. But prior to that, he's absolutely dominating the NBA Finals. And I'm kind of using Nate's philosophy here. Does the guy have warts and flaws off the court? Absolutely. Does he fuck his teammates' wives? Okay, what, 3
Maybe.
times? And all of a sudden it's a trend? But raw talent, there's kind of the same thing with Ty Webb. I think that's what I'm looking for here. And Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride, I think of who's left on the board, to me has some of the most upside there. So I'm looking to get a guy in here under my team, led by Coach Roberts, who we can just work with his raw abilities. And that is Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride.
And that's one of the great reasons, or one of the great things about us drafting this team for no specific sport. We're just going off of the meat and potatoes of each of these players. Like what's their mindset, what's their personality, and whatever that is, we're just gonna imagine it's gonna transfer into any athletic competition.
Yes, and I would even prefer Lewis Scott before his character arc is complete, when he's still a huge douchebag. I think Coach Robert can work with him.
Yeah, those are some of the best.
All right, Banner, close out the first round for us. Who is the first player that you'll have under Coach Pete Bell from Blue Chips on your fictitious athlete team?
So, guys, we know that 85% of all sports games are won before the game even starts. It's the mental game. The mental warfare is what wins the games before the game starts. And that's why I got to go with Sid Dane from White Man Can't Jump. I need somebody that is going to hustle for us. Somebody that is going to shit talk and is going to back it up. I need somebody that is going to win that mental warfare game.
It's a great pick.
That's good. The scrappy underdog. You always need one of those in your team.
That's the guy who wins the game for you in pregame warmups just by barking and talking shit to the other team, right?
That's right. That's right. The only reason you put him on the floor is to get fouls and to talk shit.
And I got to say, as far as a coach-player combination, I think that's a guy that would work, maybe not work well is the right way, but he can coexist with Pete Bell.
They'll be on the same page when it's time. They'll be on the same page. That's not practice, but
this is the guy diving for loose balls in the layup line before the game.
And you're like, well, number one, why is there even a loose ball while we're just warming up?
You missed your fucking layup?
Huge red flag. But you know what? Whatever.
Unguarded. Okay, come on.
Boehner, does he play with his hat on?
I didn't know that there's an option not to play with your hat on.
I guess it's a stupid question.
Come on.
Nate and I absolutely fucking hate when we play pickup basketball with guys with hats on.
It's so annoying. It really is.
Yeah, like, what? It just gets in the way. I don't understand.
And why do you need it? Is the sun in your eyes in this indoor gym?
Come on.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
all right,
right.
Banner. You got Sydney paired up with Pete Bell. Who's your second player, since we're doing snake draft, to add on to your team?
All right. So next, might be a little controversial, probably getting him a little early, but I need him, okay? I need an athlete. I need a guy that will go to war for his team. Whether his teammate is right or wrong doesn't matter. He's going to go to bat for them. He plays tight end, but he also plays hockey. And that's Fulton Reed.
Well, he played tight end. He totally lost that scholarship.
It's a misunderstanding.
Well, is it though?
It is.
I mean, I think we pretty clearly understand what happened.
Whatever.
Got to say, Banner, I like Fulton Reed as a player. I think this is a reach in basically the second round of the player draft.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a little early, but, you know, you got to go with your gut sometimes.
Right. Can't fault it.
And I would appreciate it if on the thing here, instead of the Mighty Ducks, I would prefer that it's him from D2.
All right, I'll allow it.
If we can change that, I'd appreciate that.
Wow, asking for favors now.
No, it's not a favor. It's just the rules that we make up as we go.
Fuck, you got me.
Totally different situation. All right, so you have Fulton Reed paired with Sydney from White Men Can't Jump, being coached by Pete Bell from Blue Chips. I'm now up. I have obviously Coach Robert from Blades of Glory and Lewis Scott as my first player from Celtic Pride. So in starting to build these teams, I think we always sort of look for, let's get a little bit of balance early, and then let's take some flyers later on in the draft, right? That's kind of typically our strategy. So thinking about someone who I can pair with Lewis Scott. Lewis Scott is a loudmouth but super, super talented. So I need somebody that is just going to go out there and work, right? He's not going to demand the ball aside from Lewis Scott if there's a ball in the sport that we're playing. And he's just going to get his fucking job done and really shut up. And that is Forrest Gump from
Wow.
Now, this was a guy I thought about waiting on, but the fact that he can just literally run across the entire country is a skill that to me is too valuable not to pair with Lewis Scott. He could go the whole game without Lewis Scott even looking at him, and I don't even think, no offense for us, he'd be smart enough to realize he was being purposely ignored by our best player.
I mean, it doesn't matter what sport it is. He's got endurance. I mean, that's just given.
And we all saw a lot of guys can't pair that with speed, but remember when he was returning kickoffs for University of Alabama? The guy's got some get up and go as well. So he'll be easily coachable, really just because he's too stupid to be insubordinate. And maybe Haley Joel Osment will be in the stands.
He's got the fast twitch. He's got the slow twitch muscles. I mean, what more do you want?
Right. He's basically a dream for Coach Robert, who's going to have to work overtime on Lewis Scott. I just want to get him somebody early who he knows he doesn't have to worry about in the locker room. Now we're going to figure out where to put Forrest Locker because he's probably going to get fucking punched in the face depending who he's standing by.
That's fine. Just never mind.
He can outrun him. Man, that's a good pick there.
Yeah. All right, Nate. We got back-to-back picks here.
Man, I know I've been
so much pressure with the back-to-back picks.
I know I've been thinking about this and what direction we want to go with this team, and I've kind of been bouncing back and forth.
It sounds like you're about to fire your GM.
I mean, I just don't know if it's working out.
So just to recap, to give you a little time to look at
thank
this.
you for sure.
You have Mr. Miyagi as your coach / we'll just even call him a sensei as well. And then Ty Webb, of course, Chevy Chase's character from Caddyshack. So almost a guy that I think philosophically, like you said, will connect very well with Mr. Miyagi on sort of that cerebral level.
Yeah, I knew that first connection was going to be there with them. I don't do too much research or planning before these, just because I want my heart to pick. So going off of this is kind of an outlier with the team. But you're going to have that. You're not going to have everyone on the same page. You got different strokes for different folks.
Everybody has their Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. So we're going to go with
point, actually.
We're going to go with a little bit of a wild card here. But is a man who loves to win. He only knows how to win. If you ain't first, you're last. We're going with fucking Ricky Bobby.
I was probably high when I said that, Ricky. A lot based on that.
So a guy who knows how to win, he's going to be that one who's always striving to get first place. He can work on a team with Dale Norton, but he always wants to be that top guy. So there's going to be room on my team for him to be that top guy, but he's going to push everyone else, and he's fine with someone else getting a little 20 points instead of his 30 points that he's going to get. But he's always going to strive for first, so that's a no-brainer.
And also, let's talk about what's really important, and that's getting butts in seats. Is there anyone on this list? I'm looking through it. Maybe one guy who's as or more marketable than Ricky Bobby. I mean, the dude just sells fucking tickets.
If you don't like Big Red, fuck you.
The Jackhawk 5000. Christmas is right around the corner. It's like the biggest fucking night.
He's an advertising genius. He wins races. He gets a smoking hot wife. Thanks, Skip.
This sticker is dangerous and inconvenient, but I love Fig Newtons. It's like literally his entire windshield.
Yeah. So a little bit of a different path from the coach and Ty Webb, but you need that winner on your team. You need him.
Mr. Miyagi likes a challenge.
That is true. Mr. Miyagi can adapt. He's got that Zen mind shit going on.
Yeah. He's in your head before you even know it. Kind of like my ex-wife.
Yep.
All right, Nate, you're up again. Who are you going to pair with Ricky Bobby and Ty Webb under the tutelage of Mr. Miyagi?
So, going along with kind of what we already have here with Ty Webb, he's a little bit of a hothead. But along with Ty, he may be another one, maybe a top 5 with raw talent on this list. One of the greatest golf movies of all time. We're going with Roy McAvoy.
Oh, okay. God, you have some fucking good golfers here.
I know. They're like, oh, cool. Thurman's picking all golfers for his team, of course. But I mean, Roy, he's another one of those guys. Raw talent. He lets some things get in his way sometime, mainly his temper. But he fucking shot par with a 7-iron, and he can go out there and kick your ass with a shovel and a rake. That's a guy.
Renee Russo while he's at it.
I mean, he's gonna steal her from the head pro. I mean, he's got talent. He's got the ladies. He's got the swagger to get the ladies.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a 5-tool player.
He is, but like I said, he's gonna get a hothead. He's kind of like a Russell Westbrook. Another 5-tool player, some people might say. give or take whatever night it is. But he's averaging a triple-double. So, like I said, a lot of raw talent again. You've got to have that hot head on the team, though, just to fire up the team sometimes. And he's going to go balls to the wall and all out, no matter what it takes. If he loses a shoe, he's going to keep playing. If he breaks a club, he's going to keep shooting under par. It doesn't matter. He's going to go out there and compete.
If he's in a wife beater, he's going to pose for the cover of the DVD.
I would hope so.
We all know this. It's a good pick. And I think he'll pair well with, I think him and Ty Webb actually talking shop in the clubhouse will be pretty interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah. You got cohesion between Miyagi and Ty Webb with like the mindset. You got the golf connection with Roy and Ty. And then, like I said, Ricky Bobby's a wild card, but he's a winner.
There.
He's a winner. That's all you need.
Only thing you ever did ship was make a hot daughter. All right. Well, I think from my point of view, looking at what we have on the big board right here, this is where things start to get a little bit dicey. I know we said there was no clear top tier, but I'm looking at the board right now, and you could make an argument for any of these guys to go as my third round pick.
There's some good picks still out there.
Yeah, for sure. Just as a quick recap, I have Coach Robert from Blades of Glory heading my team, and then Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride and Forrest Gump from the titular character, of course, from Forrest Gump. So who will pair with them? All right, so I think I have Lewis Scott has a lot of talent. That's really helpful. Forrest Gump is a great role player to pair with him. Right now, guys, I need a little bit of toughness because I got a pretty boy in Lewis Scott who's going to put up big numbers. And then Forrest Gump is just going to do the dirty work, but he's not a guy that, like, intimidates you, you know? Now, but I also want some talent with this pick because it is still a third-round pick, right? You don't just want to take a backup defensive tackle here.
Where are you going?
You want to get a guy
going with this?
I was worried Nate was going to take this guy with his last pick, so I'm just going to scoop up the last and probably still a very talented golfer off the board. And I'm going to go with Happy Gilmore from Happy Gilmore.
He's a fighter.
Yeah, he's a fighter. He's a tough guy. He can hit the ball.
Dual sport athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100. He's the only guy that ever attacked a guy with a skate. I don't know if you knew that. And for me, he gives me a combination of talent and toughness and the ability to hit the ball a fucking mile in the air. His putting obviously needs some work, but that's why we have Coach Robert. That's why we pay him the big bucks. And he's a dude who can keep a level head at times, but when he needs to, he'll blow up and explode, and I think will help take a little bit of the pressure off Lewis Scott. So Happy Gilmore is my third player taken.
Yeah, good. I don't know how many actual dual sport athletes we have on here if I dig in, but he's one of them. So he transcends sports.
Yes.
Not as successful in hockey.
Yeah, that's true. He can skate a little bit and attack you if that counts.
That is true. But yeah, the definite fighter there.
I thought you were grabbing him last round the way you described Mcavoy.
I did too. I thought you were too.
I'm glad
they've got some similarities. I'd love to see them match up on the court.
Yeah, and one of the last few guys I think on this board who, like you said, Nate, sort of checks a couple boxes for you when you're trying to fill out a roster, which you kind of need to get in those first 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of that, Banner, you got back-to-back picks. Who's your third player you're going to add to Sydney from White Men Can't Jump and Fulton Reed from D2? Of course, coached by Pete Bell from Blue Chips.
So I need somebody that is unbreakable. Somebody that will literally run through a brick wall and keep running and will do anything I need them to do or Coach Bell needs him to do. And I'm going with Danny Bateman, number 56 from The Replacements, John Favreau's character. I just need, like you said, this is round 3 is when you get your toughness. And he is the epitome of toughness. Okay? Like I said, he's going to run through a brick wall. He's going to do whatever his captain, Sydney, says. So he's probably going to get fucked with a little bit. But at the end of the day, that's what you need. Team camaraderie.
You have a tough team between him and Fulton Reed right now.
It's not bad. Yeah, I mean, even Sydney, he's a scrappy guy. He's tough. He's gonna get in there with the best of them.
Now, I don't envy Pete Bell's job coaching this fucking group of guys. I mean, are they talented? Yes, but
I'm glad you said that.
Out of control people here.
I'm glad you said that, because now for my fourth round pick, I need a veteran, right? I need somebody that in the clubhouse is going to be able to give that wisdom and keep these hotheads, keep these young guns in check, right? So I'm going with Chet the Rocket Steadman from Rookie of the Year. All right, guys, he throws the cheese, the high, stinky cheddar.
Love it.
And what is there a better name than Chet Steadman?
It's a pretty good fucking
It's
name.
a great athlete name. I can't lie there.
He's that veteran. He's that guy. Look, he may not even start, but I need him in the locker room. He's a locker room guy. I need him there to mentor these kids.
I will say he handled losing his job to a 12-year-old pretty gracefully, all things considered.
All things considered. He also got to fuck that 12-year-old's mom. So, I mean, it's kind of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
That had nothing to do with it, Brian. God.
Lucky for me, my back is on my dick.
Lucky for me, Jules, my back is... What a stupid fuck. Kyle's Killer Lemonade. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty gay, but I can get it. Oh, God. All right, Boehner, good picks. So far you have Pete Bell from Blue Chips as your coach, Sydney from White Men Can't Jump, Fulton Reed from D2, Danny Baton, who's Favreau in the replacements, and, of course, Chet Steadman, played by Gary Busey from Rookie of the Year. Now, it's back to me. This is our second-to-last player we're choosing for our team. So far I have Happy Gilmore, Forrest Gump, Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride, and I'm led by Craig T. Nelson as Coach Robert from Blades of Glory. So I'm looking at my team, and I think I have decent balance. So this is the point in the draft where I need to realize, what is my team identity? Where do we want to double down? Where do we want to really add a player that we probably already have someone who can do something relatively similar, but this is what defines us, who we are. And I'm looking at the list here, and Banner, there's only one guy that I see that brings something to the table here that no one else does, unequivocally. This is a guy who is not afraid to shoot the outside J. Let me put it that way. This is a guy who transcends genre, and this is a guy who proves that you can be 5'6" and white and still get a Division I scholarship to play basketball. And Banner, I'm going with none other than our boy, Troy Bolton. From High School Musical.
Gotta
played by,
get your head in the game. Gotta get your head in the game.
Because, Banner, quite simply, and this is sort of irrefutable, if the game's on the line and he just starts singing and breaks out in song, you're fucked.
You guys are lucky that my mic was muted, because I was full-on High School Musical singing right there.
Oh, yeah. But if he starts singing, there's no, like, during the song, there's no way anyone's going to block his shot.
It's a good pick. It's a really good pick. I like it.
I don't think he would work on everybody's team, but I fully encourage musical numbers on my squad. So
here's my only concern for your team at this point now. Is Happy going to try and kill Troy Bolton?
I hope so, because you know what pressure makes? Diamonds.
Okay.
Coach Robert isn't afraid from controversy, though. New tactics. I think it's going to work.
Coach Robert might just put Happy's locker next to Troy Bolton's just to see what the fuck happens.
Just sits back with the popcorn and be like, all right, let's
from his little coach's office window, peeking through the blinds, drinking a whiskey neat. Like, this guy's going to fucking kill each other. And then we go.
He's got to be drinking out of a mug, right?
Yeah, you don't know what's in that coffee cup. First off, it's none of your fucking business. So.
Second off, it's whiskey.
All right, so Troy Bolton is paired with Happy Gilmore, Forrest Gump, and Lewis Scott, coached by Coach Robert from Blades of Glory. Nate, you're going to round out your team here. Players 4 and 5 to go with Roy McAvoy from Tin Cup, Ricky Bobby, Ty Webb from Caddyshack, and led by Sensei, Mr. Miyagi. What are you thinking?
All right, so what we're going to go with next. My team is a little ragtag. But you got to get a little flavor of every ice cream to make a sundae, right? So what we're going to mix in here.
I don't think so.
It's Leviticus, right? It's like, isn't the sundae just vanilla? You can.
I mean, I'm not a Sundayologist, but I'm
Hey.
pretty sure it's just vanilla.
The guy at
Don't
Cold
worry
Stone's
about
like,
it.
did I fuck this up because I only put vanilla? No, that's what you're supposed to put in it.
Hey, it's my Sunday. I'm making it. We're gonna go with someone who is gonna be able to take that last shot in the game, take over a game if he needs to. It's gonna be someone who is innovative, who's not afraid to showboat a little bit. You know, you got to draw on the crowds. So we're gonna go with Clarence Coffee Black from Semi Pro. I just don't see how you can go wrong with someone who was a tandem of creating the alley-oop, one of the greatest sports achievements ever. He's going to go out there. He may showboat a little bit, but like I said, you got to draw on the crowds. You got to have that ticket revenue to pay the athletes. He's going to get that, but then he's also going to perform, and he's going to come out there and score. My team is based around a lot of raw talent. He can kind of get a little cocky sometimes because he knows he's that talented, but I think Mr. Miyagi is the perfect coach for these people because he can draw the most out of them.
Nate, you have by far, if there were season tickets on sale for any of our teams, I would have to have at least a partial season to your team.
Look, as the owner of my team, I would buy a season ticket to your team.
Yes, 100%. I mean, you're going to have the most nationally televised games because people want to see these guys. What are they going to fucking do? And
It's either going to be a blowout or we're going to lose by 20.
But it'll be entertaining.
Either way, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So just to recap before Nate makes his last pick, he has Clarence Coffee Black from Semi-Pro, Roy Mcavoy from Tin Cup, Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights, Ty Webb from Caddyshack, and they are led, of course, by Mr. Miyagi. All right, Nate, you got one more roster spot for a player before we have to round out the last pick of the draft with our assistant coach. Who you going with? Still a lot of talent on the board, I feel like. A lot of different ways you can go here.
There really is. And yeah, we're going to round this out with kind of another random pick, but they're going to fit in with the team because it's kind of a modge podge of athletic talent here. But we need an enforcer. We need someone who is going to get in there dirty, not afraid to take it on the chin if we need to. So another very talented guy. We're going with Rocky Balboa. Going with Rocky.
Got that toughness.
Classic. That's the one thing on the scouting report until Rocky came on here that my team was kind of faulted for, was they're a little soft. Had all the talent in the world, just a little soft. So adding him to the roster, I think, is really going to pick that up. And in our video game, we just went from a 50 to a 75 in toughness. So it's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, big fucking jump. I mean, Rocky, it gives you an element that, you just really didn't have. The dude will literally die out there just wearing punches.
Yep.
Instead of boxing, I actually think he prefers getting hit.
He's a workhorse.
I think he shows up to every practice with two already swollen shut eyes.
I mean, he just wants to preemptively get him ready.
Yeah. Good pick. So you pair Rocky with Clarence from Semi-Pro, Roy Mcavoy from Tin Cup, Ricky Bobby, Ty Webb from Caddyshack, and you are led by Mr. Miyagi.
Let's get it.
So that sends it to me with my last player, who will join Coach Robert from Blades of Glory, Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride, Forrest Gump and Happy Gilmore, and then Troy Bolton from High School Musical. And I'm looking at my team, guys. I got a little bit of toughness, not a ton. I think I have quite a bit of talent because as long as he's singing, Troy Bolton can really accomplish anything on the basketball court. I need some more physicality. And I'm assuming, before I make this pick, whatever sport we're playing, we're not testing for steroids, right?
No, this is our league. We don't do that.
It's actually, we do test, but if you test negative, you're kicked out of the league.
Okay, good. Well, I won't have to worry about that with this person because as a 14-year-old, he could bench press a truck and had his balls basically dragging on the ground because they were already so low. I'm going to go with a guy that, look, his dad is going to be an issue, but I need somebody who's willing to get ejected in the first quarter if we need a little bit of a spark, and that is Spike from the Little Giants. I don't know if he'll live past the age of 18 because of all the supplements he's put in his body, but that's okay because YOLO. You know what I'm saying?
We just need I think you just need a good 2 or 3 years out of him.
Yeah, that's really it. And
Look, I mean, you're trying to win now, not later.
Exactly. This isn't like a dynasty draft. We're drafting for whatever the fuck this sport is now. Also, I just like the way he puts on his eye black and drags that kid across the fucking field. So I think Spike gives me a little bit of extra toughness. Happy Gilmore isn't afraid to kill you, but he's really not the most physical guy in the world. Like, he's not physically imposing. And Spike, even as a 12-year-old, scares the shit out of any adult. So I think he's a good way to round out my team. All right, Banner, you got to pick your last player and then your assistant coach or whoever will be on the bench with Pete Bell.
Deacon Moss, Michael Irving from The Longest Yard. We just need him mainly because you got to feed these guys Coke, and Michael Irving's the best source. I mean, Deacon Moss is the best source of that. So that's what...
Allegedly.
That's what we need. Again, gives toughness, just strong, physical. Again, he's... look, if anybody's team could talk some fucking shit, it's mine. Okay?
Yeah.
Your press conferences would be insane.
Yeah. So... I just think he's a good fit. We're just kind of like a bad bunch of dudes. And that's what we needed. We just needed that last little edge to get us over. Nobody's going to want to fuck with us.
Plus, he's been to prison, so there's always like that element of like, dude, this guy doesn't give a shit. He'll go back.
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to be a mental mindfuck.
Yeah, he's got that. You line up the line and go, yo, I've been to prison because I did kill that bitch.
Double Jeopardy, can't try him again. Everybody knows that.
Right. Exactly.
True story.
Just to recap, Banner, before you select your assistant coach, you have Pete Bell from Blue Chips as your head coach, Sydney from White Men Can't Jump, Fulton Reed from D2, Danny Bateman, who was John Favreau in The Replacements, Chet Steadman, a.k.a. The Rocket from Rookie of the Year, and Deacon Moss, the resident drug dealer, played by Michael Irvin from The Longest Yard. So you need an assistant coach, or as you said, kind of a utility guy who can't step onto the court, field, ice, fucking track, whatever the hell this is, with your team, but he will be there as sort of an extra hand to help and maybe to break up fights in the locker room. So you can go with a player or an extra coach here. Who do you want to go with?
All right. So, guys, like I said, coming out of the gate, I want to win that mental warfare game. I want to win games before we even step onto the court, field, ice, track, whatever the fuck this is. Okay? And I also just like the drama in my locker room. So I'm going Henry Rowan Gardner here from Rookie of the Year. He's going to talk a bunch of shit from the bench, and that's all I need him to do. I don't want him touching the players. I don't want him talking to the players.
Touching the players.
He should touch them, yeah.
I don't want him anywhere near them. But he's going to be screaming at the other team.
Pitcher's got a big butt.
There it is.
That's it.
God, if you yelled that at my team, you might get fucking murdered. Happy Gilmore would come over with his skate.
Okay, and come at my team, all right? I got Deacon Moss, Danny Bateman, Fulton Reed. Fuck out of here.
Imagine Fulton Reed as a 12-year-old fighting Happy Gilmore.
I would pay to see that.
That'd be pretty incredible. All right, so Henry Rowan Gardner is he's on the bench or has a microphone. Who knows where the fuck Pete Bell will incorporate him, but there's a lot of different things to do with him. The guy that I'm going to pick, Banner, we know there's only one thing more important than the actual game, and that is covering the spread, right?
Of course.
The only other thing that matters. So I need a guy that's going to make sure that happens on a daily basis. And if the season isn't going well, then I think my guy should have the ability to maybe shave some points and make some fucking money off this thing. And on top of that, if we ever do need someone to actually step in and coach, let's say Coach Robert from Blades of Glory has a meeting with the IOC because the Flying Lotus is back on trial in the court of public opinion and he needs to go testify. This guy turned the Cucumbas into a fucking competitive team. So what does that tell you?
Love it.
I'm going to go with no other than Connor O'Neill, played by Keanu Reeves in the movie Hardball, as my assistant coach. I thought about putting G-Baby on this list just because I thought it would be interesting to see where he would go.
It would have been so tempting, but
yeah, no, it would have been.
You can't do that.
No, you can't. So Connor O'Neill, a guy, even when prior to even becoming a coach, was he a horrible gambler? Yes, but I think now we all know whatever he bets, we'll just take the opposite and we'll win. So it's a pretty helpful thing to have on your
strategy.
Yeah. All right, Nate, what's going to round out your team? So far, you have Mr. Miyagi as your head coach, Ty Webb from Caddyshack, Ricky Bobby, of course, from Talladega Nights, Roy McAvoy from Tin Cup, Clarence Coffee Black from Semi Pro, and Rocky.
Man, this is a tough choice filling out the assistant coach here.
There's still a lot of talent out there.
I know. There's
too many options.
There's a lot of different ways you could go with this. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to have to go with Gordon Bombay as the assistant coach. Like Horns was saying a second ago, if someone needs to fill in, maybe Mr. Miyagi meditated too long and he hasn't come out of his trance yet, you got Gordon Bombay to come in and grab the reins. And he has got some deep-rooted childhood issues that if you poke the right bear in the right way, it's going to come out. He's going to be competitive and a fiery son of a bitch, and he's going to get the team fired up. And that's what you need from an assistant coach as well. Just the guy back there yelling. You don't really know what he's yelling about, but he's back there and he's cheering on the team, and he'll get them to where they need to go. So really rounds out my team as, like I said, kind of a clusterfuck of talent, but the talent is there. Now, is it going to come together? Maybe, but it's going to be exciting and entertaining to watch.
Well, I think the issue with all of us was, looking at this list, there's so many psychopaths in terms of the athletes that how do you manage to get any sort of cohesive performance, regardless of the athletic endeavor, together from them? And maybe you don't want that, depending who you have. But I think Gordon Bombay, especially as your last pick, gives you a guy that both has knowledge of sports and an ability to drink and drive that is unrivaled on this list.
You've got two coaches that think outside the box. And I feel like that's exactly what you need when you're dealing with those types of players.
Yeah, you got to catch fire in the bottle with some of these. And once it does catch, it's going to be a fucking roller coaster, and it's going to be a show to watch. So strap in.
I mean, talk about thinking outside the box. Mr. Bianchi doesn't even know where the fuck the box is.
No, he's talking about some shape we've never even seen before.
Right. It's rhombus-like.
Rhombus adjacent. What does that mean? The fuck?
That doesn't make sense, sir.
But I believe in you.
Yeah, but fuck, I'm kind of trying to picture it in my head now. All right, before we wrap up, just a quick recap of the teams. Banner's team, we have Coach Pete Bell from Blue Chips, Sydney from White Men Can't Jump, Fulton Reed from D2, Danny Bateman, who is John Favreau in The Replacements, Chet Stedman from Rookie of the Year, Deacon Moss from The Longest Yard, and his assistant coach, or however you want to use him, as like a heckler, is Henry Rowan Gardner from Rookie of the Year. Banner, your quick last thoughts on your team or your draft strategy. What do you want the people to know about the squad you've put together?
Look, we're the toughest team out there. We're going to fight on the field. Like, there's a good chance we'll fight each other before we fight you, but we're also going to fight you. We're going to win the game before we even start the game with that mental warfare. You're not going to be able to escape the shit talking ever.
There's, I guess the only player on your team who wouldn't talk shit would be Fulton Reed, because I even feel like Chet Stedman would fucking mix it up with you.
Chet Stedman would definitely throw a couple jabs in there.
And there's nothing scarier than the team that's fighting themselves before they fight you. It's like, Jesus Christ, they're animals. Don't care about anything. All right, my team, led by Coach Roberts from Blades of Glory. We have Lewis Scott from Celtic Pride, Forrest Gump, Happy Gilmore, Troy Bolton from High School Musical, Spike from The Little Giants, and our assistant coach is Keanu Reeves, Connor O'Neill from Hardball. I guess what I want you to know about my team is, similar to Nate's squad, we are a little bit ragtag, but I think we bring a high combination of talent and psychopath to the mix. And Troy Bolton is almost scary in a totally different sense, because how comfortable do you feel when a guy just starts fucking breaking out into song in the middle of an athletic event? I mean, that's frightening in and of itself.
Yeah, what's going on in his head if he's that confident to do that?
Correct. And I don't want to say it, but he definitely double dribbles during that Wildcat song in High School Musical 3. And I don't think a ref can call that, especially while he's singing such a nice ditty.
No, he's got the refs on his side too, so that's a
yeah. You know when you're a star that you get away with stuff.
Correct. Sure. Yeah, he gets refereed differently because of his singing ability.
Obviously, so. Horns, I'll give you this. I think you may have the best coaching staff out of all the teams. I think that those are you've got the most array from, again, psychopath to actually kind of knowing what the fuck they're doing to being able to go, hey, look, we want to win, but we only want to win by this much.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of covering all your bases here.
I'm telling you, if the season goes down the drain early, if we realize, like, I don't see the playoffs happening here, we're at least going to make some money.
He's Copernicus. He's flying too close to the sun over here.
Exactly. I mean, you got to take risks to get to where you want to get to. So Connor O'Neill, again, I don't know if he'll last the whole year. We'll see what the fuck happens. I don't know if Andy's got to last the year, but it'll be an interesting ride. All right, our last team, the Thurmans, is what I'll call them, led by Mr. Miyagi. We have Tyler.
Hold on, I got one less comment on your team, Jeff. With O'Neill being one of your coaches, how do your players feel about their personal safety? Are they afraid they're going to get shot?
Yes, they are, but I think we play better when we're afraid. Okay, Troy Bolton, especially, he's only seen one African American in his life.
That was Corbin Blue.
Corbin Blue. And it's cool because he spells blue like blue cheese dressing, not like the actual color. So, and Spike, which we just know him and his dad are overtly racist. So if he were to meet any of the Cucumbas, we'd have some issues for sure. Actually, Spike, we need to keep away from Lewis Scott because I could see that going south very quickly.
Sorry. Thurman, your team. We're talking about it.
You got Mr. Miyagi. Great
Good transition.
Great podcasting. You have Mr. Miyagi, Ty Webb from Caddyshack, Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights, Roy McAvoy from Tin Cup, Clarence Coffee Black from Semi-Pro, Rocky, and Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks. Nate, methodology here. How do you feel about your squad that you put together?
Yeah, it's a very well-rounded team. We're built on a lot of raw talent. We don't have the toughness that we might need in some of these matchups with some other teams, but I don't think we need it. We're going to go out there and perform like we know we can, and they're going to go out there and show everyone what they're really made of. And like I said, it's really built on raw talent from a bunch of different buckets here. We've got a lot of variety as far as what the talent looks like. But a lot of different methodologies too. Like I said, you gotta get a lot of different types of ice cream to make a sundae or whatever I said earlier that didn't make sense.
Your team is gonna make the most money.
Yeah.
I mean,
and look at the Dallas Cowboys right now. Are they the best team? No. Are they ranked the most profitable franchise or the most valuable franchise in the world? Yes. I mean, so who's really winning at that point?
I mean, yeah.
That's for the fan to decide.
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay.
I don't think you're gonna be too. I don't think you should be too worried about your toughness though. You got Rocky.
I mean, Rocky can just take all of it himself.
Right, but didn't Ricky Bobby stab himself in the leg and he was fine?
Well, he was psychosomatic, Banner.
He lived through it. That's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, you got to be kind of tough to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I also don't think Roy McAvoy is necessarily like a total bitch, you know.
And Gordon Bombay isn't going to just be a pushover. I mean, he's not going to be able to do anything, but he'll at least stand there. He's a body.
He'll at least be drunk.
That's part of the battle.
All right, well, that does it for our fictional movie athletes draft. If you guys have any ideas of anything else we should draft, let us know. We can do movies from a genre, from a year, an actor's performances, characters. There's really nothing that would not make for a good draft. Well, that's not true, but there's a lot of different ways we can go with this.
Candy bars. That's a bad draft.
That has nothing to do with movies, but sure, I guess we could do that.
It's a good draft, though.
That's true. Now I just want a fucking Payday or a Twix.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the second part of our show, which is our protein shake, where we go around and talk about what is in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. I have one, two, three. I have about 6 things, but most of them are kids' movies because I'm a teacher and this is our last week of school, so we've been watching a lot of films, so I won't talk about too many of them that much. So let's go round robin till we run out of things we've seen lately. Nate, we will start with you. What have you seen since we last spoke to you?
I think it's actually been a while since I've been on and done an actual episode, done some reviews and stuff, but
I think the Brosters, which isn't like a real, it's a real episode, but we don't talk at all.
No protein shake. Let's see here. I'm going to start off with this one. Watch King of Staten Island. Finally popped up on HBO Max and was like, you know what? I've heard some good things about this. It's a little off the wall, but really, really enjoyed it. You kind of get maybe the weird vibe with Pete Davidson, but he's kind of a weird shit in the movie. I think there's probably some things that he drew on from his real life, but overall, really great. Kind of dark in some moments, but really funny too. His interaction with his mom and Bill Burr is also in it, who plays a big role in the movie and his development and everything. And they have a cool character arc together. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I was really surprised actually that I enjoyed it as much as I did. Pete Davidson did great. I can't remember the name of the actress who plays his mom in it, but she was awesome as well. I don't know if either one of you have seen it.
Is it Marissa Tomei?
Yes, I think that's correct.
Nice. Totally would. Now, this movie, I'm interested. It's kind of a whore because it was a Hulu original, I believe, and now it's on HBO Max. Like, what a slut.
Yeah. It's on HBO Max. Yeah. I had to second guess myself there, but yeah, it is.
And this is a Judd Apatow film as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I've kind of fallen out of love with his work the past few years, but if you think this kind of gets him back, maybe not necessarily to his comedic roots, but he's always had an ability to sort of insert heart and, kind of this sympathy for a character that doesn't go too far over the top, with the exception of like funny people that I have sort of enjoyed.
Yeah, Pete Davidson's character is kind of that. It's kind of the epitome of that. He has his faults. He has his demons. But he really accepts them throughout the movie, has a great character arc, and where he ends up is very accepting. I think the audience will accept where he's gone, and he's trying to better himself throughout the movie. At the beginning, he's kind of a piece of shit, but throughout his interactions with his mom and Bill Burr and his family, he kind of gets to a better spot, and even with his friends who are kind of shitbags too. But really, really good. Really enjoyed it.
Last thing I'll ask you, as a comedy film, which I believe it's, I would probably say if you had one genre. Yeah. Were there any laugh out loud moments, or did you find it was actually more redeeming in terms of his character arc than anything?
That's a great question. There were definitely laugh out loud moments, kind of some back and forth one-liners, really dark humor. I think Pete Davidson's dad in real life died in 9/11 as a firefighter. Right.
Yeah. And his dad.
He is a firefighter. He doesn't die in 9/11. He dies in another firefighting accident. But a lot of the comedy is derivative of that. So obviously he's comfortable with laughing at that. But there were some laugh out loud moments of that. But overall, even with there being laugh out loud moments, I think the kind of heartfelt moments are really what take over and what made it memorable for me.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that. What's the word I'm looking for? Similarity feels too light, but basically like he was playing like a fictitious version sort of himself.
Yeah, caricature of himself.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. All right, I'm interested.
Yeah, definitely go watch it.
Banner, how about you?
So we bought the first 2 seasons of Rugrats from back in the day. Been watching it with baby Banner. Guys, Rugrats holds up.
Yeah?
And maybe it's just like where I'm at in my life. I have a child and it's about kids and just watching how the parents treat the kids and seeing life through these kids. I don't know. It holds up. It's fucking hilarious. All right. Um,
Who's your favorite
he's-
Rugrat going back?
I was always a fan of Phil.
Yeah, I like Phil too.
Yeah. Tommy was too like in your like proper for me.
Right.
He's too like I'm always gonna do the right thing, and then Chucky's too much of a bitch. Although I like Chucky's style with his hair and the
I like
shirt
his
that he
shirt.
rocks.
I like his shirt. Yeah, I think my favorite character overall was Stu. But
Yeah,
as far as
Stu's good. The grandpa's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
too.
the grandpa is really funny. Now that I remember.
Yeah.
Is the grandpa Dee Dee's dad or Stu?
No, it's Stu. It's Stu and Drew's dad.
That's right. There's a
Yeah.
Drew.
And then Angelica is such a fucking bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, it works. It just, it's good.
I
There's
think
like
they rebooted that show on Paramount Plus.
I believe they did. We're probably gonna continue to get the rest of the seasons. We're trying to get Baby Banner to watch the movie. I remember as a kid, I really liked the movie when Dill was born.
Yeah, and they get the Reptar wagon.
And they get the Reptar mobile or whatever. Yeah.
Wagon.
What?
I can't be any more clear. It's a fucking wagon.
I could have swore they fucking drove it though.
Yeah, but it's called the Reptar wagon.
Yeah, but that's the name of it.
Why? No, like you pull a wagon, like you drive a mobile.
Okay, that's the name of it in the
Well,
movie.
then-
I'm sorry.
Talk to Stu about why he named it the Reptar wagon.
Don't know what to tell you.
You're talking to the wrong guy, bro.
Horns, what you got?
All right, let me get two of these knocked out. A lot of kids movies here, Banner. So if you haven't seen any of these, I'll give you the good recommendation for parent versus child for Baby Banner, because she's at the age now where she'll definitely be able to understand like what's going on here and some of the jokes.
That's cute. You think that I haven't already seen these?
I saw B movie with
Jerry Springer, yeah,
Jerry
Seinfeld.
Jerry. Although that would be a totally, I'd be very interested if it was also Jerry Springer. This is on Netflix, and this movie is interesting. Renee Zellweger's in it. Matthew Broderick does a voice. Patrick Warburton, who I'm pretty sure there's like some statute out there that he has to be a voice in any animated thing that's ever created.
Everything.
And it's a pretty clever concept, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of good laughs in here. Chris Rock is in it briefly as well. But at the end of the day, B-movie feels like, and I don't know if you remember it, Banner, depending how long ago you saw it, but there are so many ideas and so many things that happen in this plot. It really feels like each act is kind of its own movie.
Yeah,
Like-
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember thinking like the pacing was really weird for this.
So the first act, and I'll just give you like a 15-second elevator pitch. The first act focuses on like the dynamics of the beehive, which is great. It's like classic Pixar. It's a DreamWorks film, but it's like how Pixar will do world building and like inside out, inside of a kid's head. They could have done a whole movie with like the way the beehive's set up. Then the second act is like bees interacting with humans in this weird dynamic that actually works pretty well. And then the entire third act is like this. It's not like overtly like beat you over the head political, but it's like the bees sue the humans for something, and it's like this weird like their two worlds collide and interact. And to me, these are three separate movies that they kind of jam into one, and it's not like confusing. It's just a lot of plot for a kids movie. When I feel like the concept in and of itself in the first 35 minutes is done so well that you could have done an hour and a half of that, and I would have had plenty of fun. And it doesn't necessarily bog it down, but I'm just like, damn, like there's a lot of... Was there no one in the room who was like, hey, man, we don't need all this? But...
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I remember there being like, there's a lot of meat on the bone here, but the pacing was super weird. Like you're jumping around, like you said, from focusing on this, and then that almost just goes away, and you're focusing on something else. It was really, really funny movie.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was very clever. But there's at least two times where you think the movie's ending because you're like, oh, okay, this is like the premise. It's about to wrap up. And then you're like, oh, we got a whole new... It's basically like episodes of a TV show that it feels like just kind of run back to back.
And it's like, for a animated movie, it's like an hour 45, isn't it?
Yeah. But
Very long.
I would recommend it. I think, especially if you like Jerry Seinfeld, it's pretty funny. One other thing I watched, and then I'll send it back to Nate. Hop, which is also on Netflix. This is it's like animated and live action where Russell Brand voices the Easter Bunny and James Marsden voices like this this is probably like 10 years old, but he voices like this mid-20s guy that can't get his life together, and he sort of like starts working with the Easter Bunny. It's completely stupid, but I have Russell Brand as like one of my guilty pleasures. He always makes me laugh. And Hugh Laurie from House actually is the voice of his dad. He was pretty good in it. But this absolute scene stealer is Hank Azaria, who has done like half the voices in The Simpsons. He plays the voice of a baby chick who, when the Easter Bunny goes missing, tries to like overthrow the head of Easter Island and make chickens the ones who sort of run Easter. And he does like this sort of Latin accent that like he could literally just be saying nonsense, and it's just so fucking hilarious. Is it a great movie? No. Will you laugh like 5 or 6 times and be like, damn it, why am I laughing at that? Yes, absolutely.
Is it one of those ones where you're like, all right, if I don't laugh in 5 minutes, I'm turning it off. Then you laugh and you're like, 10 minutes goes by. All right, if I don't laugh by the end of this scene, I'm turning it off. And you end up laughing.
Yes. Like
and the next thing you know, you watch the whole thing.
I think a good comedic scale, and I think Nate would agree, this is why like things like Superbad and The Breakup are so high on our list. A good comedic scale is swings versus connects, right? So if you attempt like 120 jokes and you only hit on like 30 of them, but they're really funny, like if you're slugging a high percentage, that's good. Hop takes not a lot of swings, but it does connect on most of them. So it's like the guy that just sort of sets the bat on his shoulder, but when he does lift it up, he usually knocks the ball the other way.
That's solid. What'd you watch this on?
This is also on Netflix. And
nice.
Also, Kaylee Cuoco is in it. She plays James Marsden's sister.
Ooh.
Interesting cast.
It is, yes. All right, Nate, what else you got?
Let's see. We can touch on this, and Banner may be able to chime in. Well, I know he'll be able to chime in as well. But watching Bad Batch, the new Disney Plus Star Wars series, which a lot of people...
Yeah. Huh? I'm about to start it. I'm sorry to interrupt, but...
which a lot of people are calling Clone Wars Season 8, which I kind of get that and see where people are coming off from that. But really excited. Me and Banner have talked off pod, and we're probably going to do a series review or season review.
Review.
Yeah, once it's all said and done. But starting out a little slow, some good character development. If you haven't seen this, then go ahead and skip ahead. Omega, who is the potential, Orange.
We don't know who she is, but it's a very interesting character.
So
we won't go into too much detail to spoil much.
I'm about to have some time off work. I plan on literally running through all of Clone Wars and this in like the next 7 days. Yeah. But if you need to spoil something to talk about it slightly, go for it.
Okay, I won't get into it too much to give you a little bit of mystery, but Omega, really excited to see where her character goes.
A lot of mystery around her character right now.
A lot of mystery. And then obviously what happens with the Bad Batch and the split that comes in between them, and where those characters are going. Slow development, but me and Banner talked about this. Is actually 16 episodes, I think, which is more than I had.
Oh, wow.
Anticipated when it came out. I thought it was going to be like 8 or 10. So,
which I think is good for it. They're taking it slow, and they're I mean, it's going to sound weird to say because it's fucking Star Wars. How is there a bigger world out there? But they're world building this story, and they have to place the pieces on the board before they can start to play chess.
Yeah,
and so it's been a little slow, but it's all extremely necessary.
Yeah, 100%. They're building a bunch of relationships between the people on the show, and they are kind of plotting some things out, planting some seeds. And yeah, like Banner said, it's kind of an interesting dynamic because they're playing it slow, but it's all necessary. So I'm kind of conflicted because I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. I see why it's needing to be done, but it's a little slow. So I'm assuming it'll pick up in the next couple episodes. I think we're on episode 3 right now.
Yeah, I think 4 is coming out at the time tomorrow.
Yeah. So excited to see where this goes. To see Clone Troop 99.
So I guess my question is, having not seen Clone Wars yet, the way that Clone Wars sort of I guess, backdoor pilots this show. Did you have sort of a clear direction of where it was going, or was it maybe so open-ended that you were like, wow, this is kind of interesting? Or did you kind of know coming in, hey, this is the story we're going to see?
No, they're completely, I don't want to say completely separate, but the plot threads, you could not connect them from the end of Clone Wars to this, just because it's so closely following the Bad Batch.
And I would not have guessed that they would do this timeline. So when we meet the Bad Batch at a specific time in chronological order, I thought the show was going to be all prior to us meeting them in Clone Wars, and it's actually after we meet them in Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was very surprised with the route and very pleased with the route that they went.
Yeah, but everything else is top notch about this. Just a little slow, but it's understandable.
I'm intrigued, and I will be caught up with you soon.
Nice.
Banner, what else you got?
All right, I'll get these out real quick. Watched Godzilla vs. Kong before it left HBO Max. Had a lot of fun with it. I thought the CGI was great. I thought they did a really good job of humanizing Kong. Kind of made him, us feel for him, and we're feeling all of this through him. That was good. Millie Bobby Brown, my God, was she fucking terrible.
Horrible, right?
My
Everybody
God.
touted her as like the next up and coming thing. Look, I get that it's a popcorn flick, but you got to try better than that, honey. Like that was a.
Natalie Portman is even going like, damn.
You know who else I was really wrong about? Julian Dennison, the guy in this who's also in, Christmas Chronicles 2 and Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
When I saw him in Hunt for the Wilder People, I was like, this guy has some fucking potential. I don't think it works. Whatever he's putting out, like 2 of his 4 films that I've seen in Christmas Chronicles 2 and his performance in this, he's been atrocious.
Yeah, I think he needs to land doing like silly kids movies. Like the demographic where the Emoji Movie is gonna land.
There you go.
That's where he needs to live.
Like a SpongeBob demo.
Yes.
Like if you laugh at Patrick Starr, this is your guy.
Yeah. And then as well on HBO Max before it left, it might still be on there, I'm not sure. Mortal Kombat. Check out our review of that we did with Horns and
Chris McClellan.
Chris. Really fun review. Again, great movie. Check out the review on my thoughts on that. Watch the 1984 classic Red Dawn.
Ooh. This is one that's been begging for a Bro 4 Squad commentary, I feel like.
My God, we need to do it right now. It's one of those ones, every time I watch it, I'm like, God, that's a good fucking movie. It's just... I mean,
it's not, but it is,
I know, but it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you seen the new one with Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, it's okay. It's fun. I mean, it's not Swayze good.
What is? I mean,
yeah, I might have to go back and revisit that.
I believe that was an HBO Max classic as well.
Okay, all right.
But it also may have been Hulu, and it also may have been Netflix, and it also may have been
and Charlie Sheen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I might go revisit that this week. That'll be a good one to go back to.
Yeah, let's definitely put that on the list because that is like the 80s action type movie that we have so much fun with.
And it's got our as Geiger puts it, our Lord and saving Christ or whatever he says.
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
Right. That's what he says.
Horns.
All right. Let me run through these real quick, and then I'll save the last one for Banner for you and I to talk about. I rewatched Moana.
Okay.
With my kids. The thing that always stands out to me when I go back to this is the animation, specifically of the water in this, which, as we know, is basically like a character in the film, is incredible. Like, how does Pixar constantly show us something visually that we haven't seen each time we put in a film?
I don't know.
It's kind of insane. And the other thing that I think is just so great about Moana, it puts us in this world that feels like, Earth adjacent, but it's this aesthetic that again, is so unique visually to the animated genre. Like the Hawaiian Islands or wherever there's some like Pacific Rim area. Like, how have we not seen that in a film? And how did we know we were so hungry for it? We didn't until we saw it. It's just super unique, and somehow Pixar just continues to crank these things out, and none of them feel, with the exception of some sequels, I'm looking at you, Cars 2, 3, and Planes, whatever the fuck that is, none of them feel like they're a rehash of something we've already seen just trying to capitalize on built-in fan base, right? They all feel so inherently fresh. Like, even look at their 2 entries last year, Soul and Onward, incredibly creative ideas, and so different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah, and we can't not talk about the fucking music.
Oh, well, I mean,
this is one.
Manuel Miranda is a genius.
Right.
I forgot
but this
he
is
did
one,
that. Holy shit.
This is one that I think of recent times that will rival Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, all the ones from when we were kids. This is the only one that even comes close, in my opinion, to rivaling those. And don't come at me with Frozen or Frozen 2. Fuck that shit. That's terrible.
I'll give you the overrated. Clap, 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 clap. Nate, I totally forgot Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music.
Yeah, he's a lyrical genius.
The dude's out of control. He needs to chill out. But don't chill out, actually. Can't wait for In the Heights.
Keep producing stuff.
Yeah.
Nate, we'll have to go see In the Heights with the wives and then do a review on it.
Love it.
Let me run through these real quick. I saw the movie Safety on Disney Plus. A Disney Plus original movie, actually. I don't know if you guys.
How is it? It's been they've been shoving it down my face.
I would not recommend it. I think the story is far better than the movie. The movie's poorly acted. Hardly any football in it at all, and you can clearly tell the stuff. Like, normally you don't want to know or can't really tell things that they exaggerated for the purpose of the film. And in this, it just feels incredibly pandery. It's not bad. Like, it still follows, the Disney, paint by numbers script for a sports movie. I put this in my Letterboxd review for us. It's always going to be successful. Like, it has a pretty high floor. But if you had me rank my Disney sports movies, I think this might be the bottom one. It's still a respectable entry, but at a 1 hour, 58-minute runtime.
Better than Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off?
It's better than any movie, that's just a piece of shit.
Okay. I stand corrected. My bad.
But I can't in good conscience recommend it as a Disney sports movie. That credit.
Yeah, I actually watched this like 6-8 months ago, and I just had to look it up on IMDb to make sure it was the same movie because it was so forgettable. So
yeah, you had kind of the
there's
same
that.
stuff, right? It's like none of the sports stuff really clicks, and just like what?
Acting is not that great. Just kind of
It's meh.
Meh.
I've definitely seen worse films, but
yeah,
nothing great. Last thing I saw, and Banner, I cannot recommend this highly enough to you, on Netflix, from the team that did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Mitchells versus the Machines. Have you seen this?
Okay. I've seen it pop up, but I haven't watched it.
Oh my god! First off, so visually creative. The way Spider-Verse does sort of like the comic panel, like animation pop-ups.
Yeah.
And it is just fucking hilarious. Danny McBride is the voice of the dad in it. It's basically about this family that goes on a road trip, and then because this guy who runs a smartphone company gets a little too ambitious, the robot apocalypse kind of happens. And so that happens in the middle of their road trip, which their dad is determined to finish because he's a dad.
Of course.
There is a scene, and I put this in our Letterboxd review also. It's probably like the very beginning of the third act, like the last 25 minutes, that involves a bunch of Furbies. And I was, as an adult, supervising my class of 7th graders, and I started audibly laughing almost out of control at what was happening. It was incredible. So I really want you to watch it just for that scene, because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And Nate, you'll get, knowing the Furby craze that happened, these kids really went over their heads, but I totally enjoyed it.
That's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, 7th graders today don't know what the Furby craze was.
They have no idea.
I still have fucking nightmares about those things.
Oh, and then this movie plays right into, that's the exact same thought I had. The creators, again, they did Into the Spider-Verse, which is incredible, but I think they had the same recollection of Furbies that we did based on what they.
Good. I'm excited.
I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Wow. That's big for you. You don't give out a lot of 4.5s.
Banner, it's not a fucking free pass,
I know. I know.
You want a good grade, earn it.
I know.
All right, I got one last thing, but I'll save it for the end for Brian and I. Nate, is there anything else left in your cup?
Just the thing that you're saving last to talk about with Brian.
How you watched it too? I didn't know you were.
Oh yeah, I'm all the way through season 1.
I knew I liked you.
All right, I got two real quick things then. I watched Paycheck, 2003, Ben Affleck, Aaron Eckhart, Uma Thurman.
I saw this recently, yeah.
I had a buddy at work who actually recommended this recently, and I haven't seen it.
I think it's a
Wait, he recommended it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
I would.
I believe you have the ability to fire this gentleman.
Yeah.
I might have to look into that.
Uma Thurman is absolutely horrid.
She's so bad, yeah.
God, it's awful. I think it's
pretty solid.
Yeah, he's solid. I think it's a good idea, and I don't think Michael Bay did it, but it got very Michael Bay'd in these super unnecessary, over the top action scenes. I would have liked this to play almost more like a drama or a mystery film.
It was John Woo who did it, because I remember he does weird stuff with the camera, it feels televisual, almost feels like a made-for-TV movie.
Like I said, I like the idea and I like the overall story. I just don't like how it played out on screen.
Yeah, Nate, here's how I would relate. You watch the movie and you go, this kind of sucks. Is there a book I can read?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's what
you go reverse. You're like, can I read a book about this?
Right, because you're like, there's a lot here. Just how are we fucking it up so bad?
That's quite the turn of events.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fun. That's the thing with a John Woo film. Even when it's bad, it's still fun at least.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I wasn't entertained and I didn't enjoy myself. It's just not something that I would recommend, and I'll probably never go back and watch it ever again.
Fair enough.
Nate, did this guy at work has he also who recommended it? What are his thoughts on Mulholland Drive? Let's figure out where his head's at.
I think I'm gonna have to recommend that to him to get his thoughts. I don't know if we've talked about that one yet.
Mulholland. It's funny. I'm gonna recommend that to people as some fucking vindictive play. If I don't like you, hey dude, you need to go watch Mulholland Drive. I saw it was 2 hours 20 minutes. Totally worth it, dude. You get a lot out of it.
See, that's a weird movie. Kind of going off on a tangent here, but I liked it, but I completely understand if someone does not like it.
Now,
it's a weird dynamic.
If I came over to your house and you said, I have a 6-pack, let's try and watch it again, I would definitely do it. But
maybe, if you had someone to hash things out with.
I need somebody to talk to about it.
Yeah. Pause it. Be like, what the fuck is going on now?
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Sorry to digress, Banner.
It's all right. I got one more thing. In Time. Justin Timberlake, Cillian Murphy, Amanda Seyfried. Basically, it's a futuristic Bonnie and Clyde story. I really liked it.
I thought Timberlake sucked in it, but everybody else was great.
Yeah, Timberlake was fine. I think he struggled in some of the action scenes and some of the more physical things, which is crazy to say. I think he struggled in some of those scenes. But I really liked Cillian Murphy was amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's actually funny. Between that and Paycheck, you watch two movies that to me have some of the more interesting concepts I've ever seen in a film. In Time, correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a while since I've seen it, you essentially, your currency is the time left in your life. If you want to buy a cup of coffee, it's 10 minutes, right?
Yes. So there's some genetic alteration, blah, 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 whatever. You buy it or you don't. And you grow up until you're 25 years old. When you're 25 years old, your clock starts and you have 1 year to live. And you work to get time. And everything costs time. That's your currency. And when your clock has zeros on it, you die. So if you're walking down the fucking street and your clock goes to zeros, you just die in the middle of the street. So everybody is trying to earn time. They have different, basically, social classes, and that's how much you have all the poor people that live in this time zone and all the rich people live in this time zone. And Justin Timberlake figures out a way to jump time zones. And that's that.
Classic JT.
I can drive from here to Colorado and jump time zones.
Genius.
Wow.
Don't go to Arizona because aren't they the ones that like don't do?
Yeah, no one knows what time it is there.
It's anarchy.
I would recommend In Time though. Really, really liked it.
What did you watch it on?
Amazon Prime.
Interesting.
Actually, yeah.
All right, shall we get to the last thing?
Let's do it.
High School Musical, the musical, the series, the season 2 premiere. All right, now this
Great
is
opening.
Yeah, this has gone from a guilty pleasure show to just a straight up pleasure show. And I don't want to bury the lead here, Nate. I'll toss it to you. But I think I enjoy this show completely unironically now. But also, I think what's adding to my enjoyment of it is the off-camera stuff with Olivia Rodrigo and Josh Bassett and her sort of rise as a pop star. Would you agree, disagree, or is this thing just working in general for you in pretty much every way?
Yeah, it kind of has moved from from ironically to just a show I enjoy. I think it has really good comedic timing. I think the humor is great in it. I know me and Banner were talking off pod about one of the better lines. Something I can't remember specifically about his inside voice. He's like, "I'm gay and a Mexican." He's like, "This is my inside voice."
Oh, yeah, that was pretty good.
They just have some really good and funny lines. I mean, overall, is it cheesy? Yeah. But
you're not going into something that's called High School Musical, the series, and expecting it to be serious. Like, if it wasn't cheesy, I would be disappointed.
But like, it legitimately, I think, has all the parts of a good TV show. You have a love interest. You have maybe some conflict between them. Well, you have a lot of conflict between them, and now adding some more with Nene possibly moving away. But then you've got a ton of other characters kind of on the side that are bringing in some good plot threads as well. I'm losing some of the names, but the redhead and his love interest now, that's kind of funny.
Big Red.
Yeah, and their stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's overall just becoming a great little TV series. I love it.
What's the curly-haired girl's character's name who, Banner, I'm already making the prediction is going to play Storm in the MCU?
Dang it, what is her name?
I like her a lot.
Gina? She's really great in it too. Yeah,
Gina, yeah.
Yeah, I think she has.
And my God, she can fucking dance.
Yeah, she's got some good potential. And that takes me back to like the opening. Banger of an opening.
Oh my.
Great opening.
This thing checks these 3 boxes for me. Number 1, highly entertaining, whether it's the musical aspect of it or, like Nate referenced, the comedic jokes. Number 2, it's in on the joke. So even if you want to make fun of it, it's like, dude, it's like the kid in high school where it's like, you can't bully me because I'm already making fun of my own cargo shorts. Like, so bottom line, I got you. And then number 3, like we all talked about, there's a lot of juice happening off screen here. So no matter what itch you need scratched, we got you. You want to go with the fucking clickbait headlines? This thing's not going to leave your sight. And the Olivia Rodrigo continuing to fucking pile dirt on the corpse of her ex-boyfriend Josh Bassett while they have to act together. How can you not want to see how that plays out?
That's always, I mean, yeah, that's in the back of my head the whole time.
I can't get enough of it. I literally can't get enough of it.
I'm like a pig to slop.
Yeah. This episode was everything that we needed it to be, right? Banger opening. We got some of the classics from High School Musical 2. And then we got left with it's not really a cliffhanger, but we know where we're going. We're going to get Beauty and the Beast songs all season.
Thank God, yeah.
So
thank you for calling that out. Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. So they're playing tribute to one of the greats in Alan Menken. And like you said, Thurman, the comedy is there. It checks all the fucking boxes.
It really does.
Disney Plus needs, I'm excited for Loki to be dropped on Wednesdays now because Disney Plus gets 2.5 hours of my day every Friday night. Between Bad Batch, between this, they had The Mandalorian, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Game Changers. Yeah, it's turning into a pleasure as well of mine. Yeah. I know. I can't help it. I can't help it.
I'm glad everybody's on board. Everybody needs a show like this in their life. When you get off your fucking you're working your ass off and you get home at the end of the day, you need to watch something that you can just turn your brain off and have fun with.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else before we move on to the last part of our show?
That's it.
All right, that parrot signifies the question and answer part of our show, the Do You Even Lift Bruh segment, where we ask a question and leave you people with it. And today we start with the first images from the Hulu biopic series Pam and Tommy, starring Sebastian Stan, our Winter Soldier, as Tommy Lee, and my girl Lily James as Pamela Anderson, have been released. If you haven't seen these photos, you got to check them out. And the internet's hype meter, I got to say, has officially risen. Now, dates have not officially been announced, but fall of 2021, or obviously this year, is what has been advertised by Hulu. So looking at these images, guys, first off, I didn't even know this project had existed, which I'm a little bit embarrassed to say since we have a movie podcast. But where do you sit on this one, considering how we feel about the two actors? And then the rest
Pamela's
of the cast
face.
Yes, okay, well, play. All right, that's our show, folks.
Okay. See ya.
Was that just locked and loaded, or did it?
No, you just said sit on, and I'm a dirty guy, so that's where that pops into my head.
I don't know if the guys typically sit on the girls' faces.
It's nope, it doesn't. It doesn't make too much sense, but I said it.
You like to pitch backwards. When you're ahead in the count, you like to throw your fastball. When you're behind, you like to throw your curveball.
69. Let's try 96.
The cast list, I'll just read you the top four names. Lily James is Pam Anderson. Sebastian Stan, Tommy Lee. Seth Rogen is Randy Gauthier, and I know Nate's a big fan of this guy. We all are, I think. Nick Offerman.
Nicholas.
Nicholas is Uncle Milty. So, Nate, we'll go to you first. I mean, a bit of a tease of a show here that maybe I was out of loop. I didn't know this was happening, but now I'm a bit excited. How do you feel? Do these things move the needle for you at all?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you. I really didn't know too much about this until really the past 24 hours, but seeing the pictures, I mean, Lily James looks exactly like Pamela Anderson. Sebastian Stan with like the tattoos and everything. The picture that probably everyone has seen by now is amazing of her biting his nipple. But like he's got the little goatee, he's got the hair out with the tattoos and everything. Looks pretty close to him. She looks a little more like Pamela Anderson, but with this cast as well, with Seth Rogen and Nick Offerman. I know it's going to get into some dirty details, I'm hoping. But the cast alone is enough to make me go from 6 to midnight. So I'm all in.
Lily James looks more like Pam Anderson than Pam Anderson does.
Agreed. Yeah.
And Nate, I think Banner, did you watch Devs with Nick Offerman?
No, I did not.
Okay. So Nate, you enjoyed Devs, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so his last Hulu offering, I mean, we were all gung-ho about, so I'm excited to see his return here. He is such an interesting performer to me for some reason, because I feel like he can do anything.
He can stick his finger in a guy's ear and Meet the Millers.
Correct. Banner, how about you? How are you feeling about this project?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like you said, the talent alone, it doesn't matter what it is. If you put those people on screen together, yeah, I'm going to be interested. And then just parlay that with such a crazy relationship that the two of them had. I'm excited to see how this goes down. And they wouldn't put this out if they didn't have some kind of dirt that they were going to include in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to interest me in the series? I mean, I'm already intrigued, but like, just fucking put it all out there. Who cares?
They don't care now. Yeah, they're past that.
Nate had said that one article he read claimed that there was a 1-minute trailer, but we've yet to be able to find it.
I haven't found it. Yeah, unfortunately.
So if you know where it is, send it to us. Maybe by the time this drops, which will be probably a week from when we record, it'll actually be out there. But I'm in the same boat. I'm pumped for this. Sebastian Stan is just an interesting performer to me. He was in I, Tonya, obviously, aside from his Marvel exploits, and Lily James, I think, is one of the best kept secrets in Hollywood. She's super talented. So to see them both sort of subvert expectations with this role, I'm super pumped for. And I wish Geiger were on, because he sort of pioneers this. But on the pod, I think we all have sort of a huge penchant for these biopics where we really, like Banner was saying, we really get to see the dirt or like the warts on people's character, because nothing is more fun than, and makes you feel better about yourself than seeing someone else act like a total shithead. And Hulu typically does things right.
Yeah, they've done some good stuff in the past.
I don't know how many episodes or what the run. I mean, we don't know any of that stuff yet, but it'll be cool. Hope we get this, get a release date soon, or at least a full trailer. All right, before we let the people go, Nate, what do you want to impart with them in terms of wisdom for episode 152, or do you just want to brag on your fictional athlete team that you drafted?
Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, well, I was gonna say we're gonna get in the gym and practice, but fuck that. We have too much raw talent to actually waste time on shit like that. So, we're just gonna. Yeah, we're just gonna come up. We're gonna show up, smoke a couple cigs, have a couple beers, hit the range, and cash checks.
Knowing that, I will have Keanu Reeves from Hardball bet you guys with the points.
There we go. Love it.
Do a little teaser. Banner, what do you want to leave the people with for episode 152?
I mean, my team speaks for itself, so I don't need to talk any more about them. We know that they'll whoop anybody's ass. So just make sure you pull over for emergency vehicles. That's all I ask.
Yeah, Reverend Deacon is talking enough for your team. He needs to just shut up.
Classic.
It's not him. It's Terry Crews that's selling the Big Macs, right?
Yeah, Terry Crews is selling the Big Macs. Deacon Moss is the one that is playing basketball and he dunks on everybody, and he has the one-on-one game with Adam Sandler, and he's like, "Oh, you gonna call a foul?" after he punches him in the face.
Yeah, what would have happened if he called a foul there?
I don't know. Never been to prison.
Yeah, right. Wait till if you don't return that library book soon. Won't be able to say that much longer.
It's in the court system. It's fine. I got the best lawyer in the biz.
Psychically, I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him. For the mad scientist Brian Banner and the American hero Nate Thurman, I am the mayor Jeff Hornacek, and we are the Bro4 Squad podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Follow us on Twitter at Bro4 Squad. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, anywhere you find your podcasts, and even Letterboxd. If you type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words, we will pop up there. And check out everything we post on our website, bro4squad.com. Till next time, we need to go figure out who's hotter, Lily James as Pam Anderson or prime Pam Anderson as Pam Anderson.
Probably Lily James, right?
Probably yes.
They should have a mud wrestling contest to see who wins.
One way to decide, and then maybe kiss at the end or something stupid. It'd be so stupid if they did that.
It'd be so stupid. So